Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Officer Shazael, RA. I'm here with my young lion, Kino. Today we are going into the third part of Witchcraft and Rebellion series, okay? We're going to give everybody a chance to kind of log on, and I'm going to go ahead and share this. I hope everyone's doing well on this glorious Shabbat. And we're going to give everybody a little bit of time to where we can get started and kind of share this with as many brothers and sisters as we can. So, let's see. Share this with as many brothers. Okay, all right. So, I think we set up good. So, we're going to kind of recap a little bit about part one. We went over the background of Greek mythology, ancient hand signs, and we talked about chakras and how it pertains to the scriptures. Okay. We went into these are lower levels of understanding of witchcraft. Okay. Then part two, we went into a spiritual side, which would be where some called it personal healing, insight, healing crystals, and so on and so forth, astrology, mediums, witchcraft in the Christian church, witchcraft in religion. We also went over Santa Maria, we went over voodoo, and we went over how a lot of our women are leaving the Christian church for witchcraft. Okay. So the first thing I want to get a definition of magic. Yalel, if I can go ahead and get that definition real quick.
Magic. Now, the power of apparently influencing events by using mysterious or supernatural forces.
The power of doing what?
The power of apparently influencing events by using mysterious or supernatural forces.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Mysterious tricks, such as
Tricks.
Uh-huh. Such as making things disappear and reappear.
Making things disappear and reappear. Go ahead.
Performed as entertainment.
Performed as what?
Entertainment.
Entertainment. Is that all you got on that? Okay. Keno, I want to get a scripture. Let's get 1 Samuel chapter 15. We're going to start at verse 22. Read that strong, my brother.
Book of Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22.
Read it again. Which Samuel?
Book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
And Samuel said, hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahweh?
So Samuel said, does the Most High have delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as much as he has in us obeying him? That's the question. Read on.
Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice.
To obey is better than sacrifice. Come on.
And to hearken than the fat of rams.
Then to listen is better than the fat of rams. That's better than offering rams and goats and sheep. Read on.
Verse 23.
Mm-hmm.
For rebellion is
For what?
For rebellion.
For rebellion. Go ahead.
Is as the sin of witchcraft.
Is as what?
Sin of witchcraft.
For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Go ahead.
And stubbornness
Uh-huh.
is an iniquity and idolatry.
And stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. So stubbornness is just like sin and idol worship. Rebellion is just like witchcraft. It's as the sin of witchcraft. Read on.
Because thou hast rejected the word of Yahweh,
Mm-hmm.
he hath also rejected thee from being king.
So being rebellious is what got our nation into the current state that we were in currently. because we didn't hearken unto our Father. We didn't follow the law, statutes, and commandments, and in case you didn't know, and in case this is your first time tuning in with us, the so-called blacks, so-called Mexicans, and so-called native Indians of Seminole Indian descent are the true children of Israel written of in the Bible. And our people went into slavery due to a curse and punishment from not following our Heavenly Father. And Samuel's telling us in the book of 1 Samuel that rebellion is as what?
Rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
It's as the sin of witchcraft. So we're learning the different levels of witchcraft that our people are under. Okay? So what I want to go into is to get into a clip. Okay? If you want to hit that light, you can make sure that that's set up the right way. So we're going to kind of finish up with the end of part 2. Okay, so we're still on the lower levels of witchcraft. All right.
Societies that were involved in founding this country. Who were they, and what were they trying to do?
What's the word?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
So this is witchcraft in relationships.
Connection. Connection. Hey guys, I'm Mary D. Welcome to my channel, and this is my boyfriend Zach. So we're gonna talk about what it's like dating a pagan in your day. Yeah. Raise the mic.
It's terrible. It's the worst. Don't do it.
What?
I want 0 out of 10. Got 1 star.
Now y'all can immediately see this dude is like, he's out of there. You can immediately see it. Okay, just pay attention. Just pay attention to the chemistry here.
But I'm amazing.
Yeah. You know
I'm like the best tasting food in the world. Yo,
Sure.
remember?
Let's
Yo.
phrase it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna pretend I didn't say that. So yeah, what do you think about your pagan girlfriend?
Well, luckily, I'm not the kind of person to just judge people by their beliefs, unless they're terrible beliefs.
Agreed. What was your?
Okay, so he said that he's not the type of person to judge anybody, right? Isn't that what he said?
Yep. I heard
Okay.
that was true.
I want you to read. I want you to get, I want you to give John chapter 7, verse 24. Read that loud.
John chapter 7, verse 24.
Uh-huh.
Judge not according to the appearance,
Judge not according to the appearance. Go ahead.
but judge righteous judgment.
Judge righteous judgment, right? So we're not supposed to just judge by what it looks like. We're supposed to judge righteously. Okay? And here we are talking about someone who is self-proclaimed rich. She's self-proclaimed witch, okay? And if we're going to judge righteously, that means that we would judge according to Scripture, okay? So let's judge according to Scripture. Not what she looks like, not what he looks like, but let's judge what the Scripture says.
Okay.
let's go to Exodus chapter 22, verse 18.
Exodus chapter 22, verse 18.
Read up. Read louder.
Exodus chapter 22, verse 18.
Uh-huh.
Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
Read it again.
Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. That's what the scripture says. Okay, so according to scripture, she shouldn't even be alive, according to scripture. Okay, let's go ahead and keep checking this out. Let's see what's going on with this boyfriend under this pagan spell.
Initial thought, like in the beginning when I told you that I was a pagan.
And
And that I practice witchcraft.
I just shrugged it off. Yeah, I was like, cool.
Cool. No problem. See that?
To be honest, it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but like you could have been someone that's actually problematic. You could have had a habit. There's a lot of people, especially around where we live. They're just like sort of crazy and they just do weird things.
Yeah, being in New York, you do meet a lot of eccentrics.
I mean, I wasn't like put off by it. I'm not a religious person, obviously. And
It kind of makes it easier too, though, like that you're not a religious person. Because if you were someone that was like really, really, really into their religion, that might be a bit of a clash, right?
yeah, there's people out there who don't like pagans. Yeah, there's some Bible thumpers and whatnot. But I mean, I would have that exact same judgment on a pagan person if they're having the same judgments as a Christian person.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't have any judgments towards anyone because you are who you are, and if you want to practice whatever you want to practice, that's up to you.
See, and this is the mantra of America. You can be what you want to be. You can do what you want to do. I'm not going to judge you for anything, right? You can marry yourself. You can marry a dog. You can marry children. You understand? You can marry anything. I'm not going to judge you. Nobody's going to judge you.
I'm gonna marry the safety bottle.
You can marry that. You can marry a ghost. Isn't that?
Yeah,
Didn't you read that? Okay.
Michael Jackson.
Just as long as you respect other people and the fact that they have other beliefs, and that's one of the most important things to me. Just respecting other people for being different and unique.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Just sum it up.
Nice
Just say it
shit
like
like
that.
that.
So much more
Be a
efficient.
dick.
Yeah, don't be a dick. I mean, and if a pagan.
You see that look in his eye?
He's scared.
I don't know what it is, but y'all tell me if I'm wrong. He look like he's out of there, man.
He looks high.
He does look high, right? He looks like he's on something. And he looks like he's on something.
He on this witchcraft.
Right.
Her spirit has completely taken over him. He's just out of there. There's no saving him no more.
No, he's done. He's done.
Right, that's a little.
Was doing something like that, I honestly wouldn't know what to call them. What's a Bible thumper equivalent for a pagan?
Someone that's like really into Thor and Odin.
Beware the wrath of the gods.
I said it.
Right. Thou say it. We really don't have to really go on much more with this, but there are relationships like this to where this is fine. Nobody sees any problem with it. Israel is coming out saying, hey, I'm into witchcraft. I do idolatry. I do paganism. Cool, no problem. Let's be together. And you don't have to judge. You don't have to say anything about it. Okay? And believe it or not, this is what you would call a lower level of witchcraft. Okay? And this is just some short examples of so-called Black and Hispanic women going into witchcraft. All right? I'm gonna rewatch this next clip.
You know, it's probably the best psychic reading I've ever had. I got everything I could imagine from my reading. Called California Psychic.
California.
Being a bruja is not about becoming, it's about acknowledging what already is existing. Like Hood Witches, to me, is something more meaningful than just a funny name. I wanted to create a community and a project where I would be sharing beneficial information on mysticism and magic and witchcraft. It took on more significance referring to my grandmothers, one in East LA and then one living in South Central. Having a grandmother who was Mexican and then having a grandmother who was from the South, I just saw them as being like superstitious, but I never viewed it as being magical. And then as I got older and as I became a mother, these types of healing practices were very magical because they were based in nature, working with herbs and working with plant medicine. Growing up in Los Angeles, I feel that it is just one of the most beautiful and magical places. You have the beach, you have the city, you have so many different cultures. We are this land of illusion, and that in itself is also kind of magical. When I'm at a cemetery,
She says it's magical, right? It's magical to be in the land of illusions, right? I mean, she's not lying. She's not making it up. You know, we got an illusion that we're free. We got an illusion that we're African, right? We got an illusion that every man is created equal.
Well, that's a strong illusion too to our people.
Brim.
I feel peace. Well, we live in a culture where death is terrifying. I view death as a transition into something else. Since childhood, I've always known that there's more to this world than what we can see with our eyes. Brujeria has been stigmatized due to ignorance and fear. I think it's easier to demonize something that you don't understand versus trying to learn. My spiritual practices have helped to empower me, and I think it's given me focus and clarity and just an overall sense of inner peace in a very chaotic world. Women of color, especially Black and brown women, coming into themselves, they're
See that? They are reclaiming a power. And this word power is a synonym for the word God in English. This is their God, is them reclaiming a power. Okay? That power. When they start talking about reclaiming a power or the power in us, they ass is going into witchcraft. They're going into witchcraft. There's no ins, outs, confusions about it.
reclaiming a power that has been innately within them. It's been with our ancestors over time, and with religion and patriarchal ways of thinking, women have been taught in general to not trust themselves and to not trust their power. I'm so honored to be a woman of color, to say, yes, hi, I'm here, I exist, I'm doing magic, I don't give a fuck.
That simple. It's that simple. She's doing magic, it don't matter. She don't care. All right? No matter what you tell her, she don't care. Okay? And I want you to read that 1 Samuel. Read that verse 23 one more time. All right. You got it? It's in my book. It's in my book right there. Read verse 23.
23 or 22?
The last verse is highlighted.
Okay. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 23.
Mm-hmm.
For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
You see that? Rebellion is the sin of witchcraft. She says she don't care. She don't give a F. So it don't matter if there's rules involved. It don't matter that she's Israel. It don't matter that she's part of this priesthood, that she's part of the promises. It doesn't matter who she is. She's going to do witchcraft. Read that again.
Verse 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
It's just like the sin of witchcraft. Go ahead.
And stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry.
So she's not worshiping the creator. She's worshiping the creation, what the creator has made. That's why we have all these things out here. We have the wind, the rocks, the seas, the moon, the sun, and the stars. We weren't given those things to worship. Okay? We weren't given those things to worship. We were given these things as signs and seasons. Okay? Go ahead, read on.
because thou hast rejected the word of Yahweh, he hath also rejected thee from being king.
He's also rejected us. So these people that are going into this witchcraft, they are rejected. And the whole point of this study is not to just be entertained by witchcraft, but so you know the different levels of witchcraft. How are we going to know what's attacking us spiritually if we don't know what's coming at us? We have to know what's coming at us for us to be able to defend ourselves. Okay?
Some of our people see what's coming at us, but still ignore it.
But still ignore it. Right. They don't care. And she was one of them. She just didn't care.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing I want to go into here is about the side of feminism in witchcraft. Okay?
Witches have always been somewhat feminist. We have been fighting for the right to be treated correctly.
Witches are what men like Donald Trump are afraid of.
Witches are something that got burned.
The word alone immediately conjures up certain images in our minds. But what does it really mean to be a witch today? Salem, Massachusetts, a place known for trying and executing accused witches, is now affectionately called Witch City. And it seems that a growing number of young women and some men are being drawn to the brand of witchcraft. And it's political.
I use the term witch to describe myself. I usually cite the acronym Woman in Total Control of Herself. I am the owner of House Witch Home and Healing in Salem, Massachusetts. I practice witchcraft. I pull tarot cards. I have crystals everywhere. I make shrines. I cast spells.
You hear that? She does tarot cards. She has crystals everywhere. She builds shrines. She casts spells. She's telling us what it is. And these are modern day witches. These aren't people from the 80s. This is going on right now, in this country.
I meditate, but it's sort of a political distinction, and I think it speaks to my radical feminism.
Both male and female witches.
It speaks to her radical feminism. Her ass is in witchcraft.
Witches are studying the craft under a longtime Salem witch and clairvoyant, Lorelei. You'll notice a significant difference in how the more traditional witches look and practice.
What you call.
Now, I want y'all to pay attention to something here. Y'all see this right here? Anybody know what that is?
Nope. Statue.
These are ancient Egypt deities. These are 3 of the ancient Egypt gods. Why the hell is that? Why is it right here? You understand what I'm saying? Y'all see what we're dealing with right here, okay? They talk about ancient mysticism. Didn't she just mention ancient mysticism? Ancient mysticism, when they start talking about that, they're talking about Babylonian mysticism and they're talking about Egyptian mysticism. All of these are Africans. All these are people of color, okay? We can't sit here and act like we learned witchcraft from the so-called white man. They learned it from Africans. They learned it from Africans. They're heightening it now. They're exhibiting it into the earth. It's a totally different spirit now, okay?
Yeah.
Because all of it's done to keep us
Sleep.
right? To keep us away from our Heavenly Father. So I wanted everybody to pay attention to that. These are ancient Egypt deities right here.
A natural witch. I started at about 12. My mother practiced. The thing about the new word feminist, it's a great thing, but it's something that we've been doing for years. So we're maybe a little different than the younger generation. We may not be as hardcore. I still want a gentleman to open the door for me. And being the man, may we always have romance, lust, and trust. So a spell basically is a prayer.
She said, may we always have romance, lust, and trust.
Not love.
That doesn't rhyme.
No, that's witchcraft. That's witchcraft.
The universe. We have chalices full of water. We have candles, something that represents the god, the goddess, just like you pray in church.
after the election, especially. I think what the witch is good for is being a force of divine feminine power. And witches are what men like Donald Trump are afraid of. So it's like this perfect symbol.
Around Erica's store has formed a coven made up of astrologists, Reiki masters, and healers, including Erica's fiance, Melissa, who does Salem.
Erica's fiance, Melissa. Feminism and witchcraft. It's all going hand in hand. Okay? It's all going hand in hand. If y'all are noticing, they're putting it right out here in front of us. Okay? They're not trying to hide anything.
Witch tours with a feminist focus.
Deep breath.
This isn't your grandmother's coven. It's youthful, light, and trendy. Though some are embracing the word, the term witch has been used to ignite fear and shame. The Salem witch trials of colonial Massachusetts started just when Europe's so-called witch craze was beginning to wind down. A combination of limited resources, family rivalries, and extremely strict religious practices set the foundation for Puritans to blame the devil and quote-unquote devil worshippers for their problems. And more than 200 people, mostly widows or women with bad reputations, were accused of being witches, and 20 were executed.
20.
It wasn't until early 20th century that women's magazines started portraying witches as beautiful and desirable. This trend continued with the success of the TV show Bewitched in the 60s. The 60s also brought us a feminist group, Women's International Terrorist Conspiracy from Hell, or WITCH, who protested patriarchy by carrying out witch-themed political stunts. In 1985, Wicca, an offshoot of witchcraft, was recognized as a religion by the United States. In recent years, we've seen witches and non-witches publicly reclaiming the title.
The powerful are scared of this figure who has traditionally been pretty powerless, but now that's not the case.
Whether it's Trump or just, all these sexual assault cases, do you think that actually ends up creating more witches?
Totally. The Me Too movement, that's what you're seeing. It's dark, it feels bad, and now this is the only way that we're gonna start to heal it, is by, ripping this Band-Aid off and all coming together. And to me, that sounds like a coven of witches.
So this is a cry for witchcraft to come together. They had all these different sects of witchcraft, and now they're wanting to bring all of this stuff together, okay, under one fold. All right. This is just a medium level of witchcraft. This is a medium level of witchcraft. This ain't even the highest level of witchcraft. All right.
Young people become less religious in this country. Witches like Lorelei and Erica continue to see their covens grow.
I love that witchcraft is getting big. I don't really make the distinction between somebody who's just doing it on social media and then somebody who's a real practitioner, because I think that at any point in time those two can switch. To people who don't think that it's real feminism or real witchcraft, I would say who made you in charge of what is feminism and what is witchcraft?
Okay. I want to open it up to you guys. You guys got any comments?
I do.
About what you just saw? Go ahead.
I do.
Go ahead.
In the beginning, one of the girls, she said like in Salem, which obviously is everyone knows for the witch trials. Why would people who live in Salem convert to witchcraft, even though they knew that before you would be literally burned to death if you use that?
There's no moral compass anymore. Meaning that there's no boundaries. What people will do. There's no boundaries. They don't care about having a certain level of boundaries. They don't care that witchcraft is. They don't care that witchcraft has everything to do with feminism. In this sense, in the modern sense, they don't care that there is a standard of living that our Heavenly Father has provided for us, because their God is whatever they create. So they're creating a lifestyle that they can control themselves. That's going to empower them. You want to say something, Nava?
No, I'll just say basically with feminism stuff with witchcraft, you know, a lot of our Israelite men succumb to that pretty easily. And just like in the feminist movement, they, you know, they started wanting the so-called black woman to be involved in it.
Right.
You know, they want us as a benefit to them.
Right.
And
Right.
I just think a lot of our men are under the spell of witchcraft, especially when it comes to the other nations.
Right. Right.
And they just don't realize it.
Absolutely.
Because they're not allowed to believe how, most of them are not allowed to believe how they want to believe or know that they're Israel. And when they do know and they have another woman of another nation.
Grammar?
I'm listening, go ahead.
Then it becomes a problem, like someone who, you know, who may be Asian, Caucasian, or something like that. But, you know, like we went to adultery, a lot of our women, if you read in the Bible, were already, even Israel, the women were involved in witchcraft.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's
it's biblically, we were already involved in that, and then it led to idolatry and then slavery.
And then slavery. Idolatry and then slavery. That's really what it was. Once we start worshiping these other gods, we start taking on their customs, we start doing their rituals, we start following after what they say we should be doing, and the next thing you know, our people have broken the covenant and we are in bondage. And that is exactly what has happened and what keeps happening to our people in this country. Go ahead.
I would say also it may be somewhat safe to say that Eve was under a form of witchcraft.
Under a form of witchcraft.
During that time.
Right, right.
And she brought it to her, you know, brought it to her husband.
Right, right.
Because that's what happened. We changed from following the Most High to following what someone else told us because it seems good at the time.
Right, right. And then when you turn around and look at exactly what witchcraft is, it actually has to do with changing the outcome of things. Okay, actually changing the outcome, appearing to have magical powers, and really making things disappear and reappear. So that's really a form of deceit, a form of deception, and really it's just a barrel of lies. But it is a form of witchcraft. And absolutely, she was under a certain spell of witchcraft, and then she passed that witchcraft on to him. Just like our people are under a spell of witchcraft in this country. And these are lower levels. These are lower levels of witchcraft that we've been paying attention to. The hand signs, the tarot cards. Yeah, little stuff. It's very, very, very small thing. Brujas. Okay? Your people are like, whoa, that witchcraft. Man, what we're getting ready to get into, that's just a middle level of witchcraft that's going on. Okay? We're gonna take a look at this. We're gonna take a listen to the next level of witchcraft. Now we're getting into the higher level of witchcraft. And we're going to see, there's a movie out that's kind of caused some controversy, which is this new Princess and the Frog that's coming out, because now the princess is a sister. She is now she is a girl of color. Okay.
She was always lesbian.
Oh, I'm talking about the new movie.
Yes, she was always black.
Okay, I didn't know.
The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid.
Oh, it's the Little Mermaid?
Yeah.
They make it, okay. So I got them mixed up. Well, I want you to check this out. They got a song on this soundtrack. And you can go ahead and hit that like sign. They got a song on the soundtrack that I want you to pay real close attention to.
Grammarly does more than catch errors. With Grammarly, you can find really good, perfect.
Don't you disrespect me, young man. Don't you derogate or deride. You're in my world now, not your world. And I got friends on the other side. He's got friends on the other side. That's an echo down the boat. Just a little something out here in Louisiana, a little object of the right. Sit down at my table, put your mind at ease. If you relax, it will enable me to do anything I please. I can read your future, I can change it around something. I look deep into your heart and soul. You do have a soul, don't you, Lawrence? Make your wildest dreams come true. I got voodoo, I got voodoo, I got things I ain't even tried. And I got friends on the other side.
This is a Disney movie.
Yes.
Okay. Y'all hear the lyrics, right?
Yeah, of course. They always do that in Disney.
Got friends on the other side. The cards will tell. The past, the present, and the future as well. The cards. Just take it free. Take a little trip into your future with me. Now you, young man, are from across the sea. You've come from 2 long lines of royalty. I'm a royal myself on my mother's side. Your lifestyle's high, but your funds are low. You need to marry little honey, cause daddy got dough. Mom and dad cut you off, ugly boy. Now y'all gotta get hitched, but hitching ties you down. You just want to be free, hop from place to place. But freedom takes green. It's the green you need. And when I look into the future, it's the green that I see. On you, little man, I don't want to waste much time. You've been pushed around all your life. You've been pushed around by your mother and your sister and your brother. And if you was married, you'd be pushed around by your wife. But in your future, the you I see is exactly the man you always wanted to be. Shake my hand. Come on, boy. Won't you shake a poor sinner's hand? Yes. Can you feel it? You're changing, all right. I hope you're satisfied. But if you ain't, don't blame me. You can blame my friends on the other side.
He said, you could blame my friends on the other side. Now, some of these things we talk about them just in a visual sense. We talk about them with implications of using certain tools like cards, like objects, like we saw people putting spells and stuff like this. This right here, and what we're listening to, this is a totally different level of witchcraft getting casted on us that we have no understanding what we're dealing with. That's why he's telling us that he's got friends on the other side. Okay, go ahead.
You hear in the song where he mentioned something about royal, like you were like kings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. This is a form of this right here. Apparently, the storyline is this was a king. He's in bondage now as a fraud. Right. He's in bondage, and the only way for him to get out of bondage is to be kissed by a princess. Right? Is that ultimately what's going on? Okay. So ultimately, that's what's happening with us, with our people. We were kings, we were royalty, and we've been in bondage. We've been placed in bondage. The longer we stay in witchcraft, as long as we stay in idolatry, we do not get released from this bondage. And if we don't know what kind of witchcraft is being cast on us, we stay in bondage. And This is a higher level of witchcraft. Okay.
It's like subliminal messages, and it's targeted mostly at our children, because that's why the younger generation is going into witchcraft. When you watch Disney and all the Disney stuff, a lot of it is, especially the ones that they show on TV, and we don't think about it that way. Because I've watched Princess and the Frog, and I like the movie, but I don't recall this song.
Right.
But I know it was on there, but I remember what was going on during that time. When that song was going on, I remember the scene.
Okay. Well, what do you remember?
Well, he was like walking around and singing that because he needed to almost like make a wish or something like that. Something he needed to do something in order to be released. It's an old Disney movie, but I know that was the God put him in bondage, and he was singing that song.
And that ultimately, that song.
Well, he needed to be released, and he had to do something, but it was dealing with witchcraft in order for him to be released.
It was dealing with what?
I guess you would say witchcraft in order for him to be released.
So he had to deal with that level of witchcraft.
Make that princess kiss him in order for him to be, released. Because he mentioned cards, he mentioned voodoo, he mentioned astrology, and all that stuff.
Right. And all of that has to do. All of that is a total sum of what we're coming up with today, and what we're reading about right here, with what's going on with our people. Okay.
Witchcraft has become a religion now. It's not. It's in the same religion as Christianity. Like that's why they call it Wicca. So you can be under the religion of witchcraft if you say you're Wiccan.
Correct. That's absolutely correct. And that is ultimately where a lot of the power of witchcraft lies, because it's so subliminal. It's so subliminal. It's become so subliminal that we don't really see that there's a problem with it, but and we don't think much about it. Okay, but when you look into this next level, when we start going into these upper levels of witchcraft, right? Now we're talking about Harry Potter. Okay. Now we're talking about Harry Potter, right? So when we start talking about Harry Potter, you gotta realize that Harry Potter has made things more acceptable to our youth and to the churches and into different organizations. Okay, Harry Potter's made it that way. All right, so watch this. See if you got popular in gaming. Check this out.
I don't want to watch.
Unexpected phenomena continue to break out across the globe. It's happening everywhere. It could be happening in your very neighborhood.
The world's falling apart here,
Have you seen what's going on?
It's a madness.
I've just seen a demented.
Yes.
I don't think you can do this.
You've got this, man. Come on. I'm taking a wolf.
Wait.
It's a walking.
Yeah, she said the thing. She said the thing.
Who's that? No way.
So what we're seeing is pop culture making witchcraft popular through gaming now. Okay, so now all the kids get to do, all they got to do is log on. Y'all can play as witches.
Awesome.
Not a problem.
See it right now.
It's not a problem. You're instantly accessible to the witchcraft, and you've seen so many Harry Potter movies that you don't think nothing of it. You just don't think anything of it. Okay. We're gonna do we're gonna get a little bit of history right here on some background on what we deem or what we call Harry Potter and the Christian Church. Okay.
Harry Potter and Christ Church. Christ Church, a history. It is one of the largest.
Okay. Now, we're talking. I want to pay attention. I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. It was started in 1524. What does that look like down there on the right?
A cathedral.
Huh?
A cathedral. That's
a cathedral, right? Doesn't that look like something that emulates with Harry Potter? Isn't that something that's
Mine?
right? Right. So this is all started in 1524. Let me point it out. I don't have to point it. All started in 1524, founded in 1546. The Renaissance movement. Does anybody know what Renaissance means?
Development.
Wait.
Development. I think that was.
It means
No. What is it? He almost got it. I'll help you out. Renaissance means rebirth.
Rebirth, yeah.
Rebirth. Okay. Rebirth. This is around the Renaissance movement. Okay. 1529. Cardinal Wolsey was removed from power, and Henry took over. It was relaunched in 1546 as a place for both worship and scholarship. So they turned it, and the goal was to improve education and train young men for the royal family. Okay, the royal family in England. What we're seeing is this college. This is one of the colleges at Oxford. Okay, one of the main colleges at Oxford. Check this out.
Colleges at Oxford University. It was founded in 1546 by Henry VIII during the Renaissance movement, which was a time of artists and philosophers starting to seek and value scholarship. Renaissance, the word, means rebirth, and so Cardinal Wolsey started production on the school in 1524, a place to improve education and train young men in the ways of the church. Only in 1529, Wolsey lost power as he was Lord Chancellor, and so Henry VIII stepped in and finished the school, renaming it Christ Church in 1546. The school also has a cathedral for worship as well. I added the town clock because it has an interesting piece of history as well. Charles I was exiled from London due to losing the throne and came to Oxford to attend the church. He was there for 4 years, which he found the school to be welcoming and would regularly attend the church service. He even used the Great Hall there as a venue for Parliament, as he had set up his fort and military there in Oxford. Later on, his son Charles II came to power, bringing joy to both Charles I and his Christ Church as well.
So this college, I just want to make sure everybody understands, this is one of the most celebrated colleges for Esau. Esau uplifts this college, Oxford. If you went to Oxford, you've done something. Okay.
During this time, the town clock had just been finished, more specifically, the Great Tom, the clock tower designed by Christopher Wren, which is now one of the most famous places to visit at the church. This is what the town clock looks like. It's surrounded by 4 different sides, and it's basically like a school ground similar to the ones we see at Hogwarts. It's the heart of the church, centered in the middle as you exit out of the Great Hall.
So, we're talking about something that has inspired Hogwarts. Okay, this is similar to what Hogwarts, which is what the school that they went to, right? That was their sort of place of worship, practice, and all of that, right? Well, it's the same thing here.
As you exit out of the Great Hall. Like I said before, Christ Church is located in the heart of the city, nearby a Bodleian library, another site we will be visiting. The school houses more than 600 students all on campus and has one of Oxford's largest libraries dating back to the 18th century. The staff here cover almost every subject taught here at Oxford, and there are lots of clubs to join, including music, drama, and art, as well as a choir and a list of sports teams. While Harry Potter is widely associated with London and Oxford, there's another popular story inspired by Christ Church. Lewis Carroll, author of Alice in Wonderland, was studying mathematics here at Oxford in 1862 when he met the dean's daughter, Alice Liddell, who was his inspiration for Alice. Carroll began writing stories about Alice, who loved to explore the campus grounds.
So it wasn't just Harry Potter that was inspired by this. It was Alice in Wonderland as well. Okay.
Alice would beg him to write more stories, and 2 years later he'd written Alice's Adventures Underground, which he published in 1865. In the Great Hall of the Christ Church, many will recognize it as being the inspiration for the Great Hall at Hogwarts, inside is a window dedicated to Lewis Carroll and a portrait of Alice Liddell. Many others have attended the college, such as William Penn, John Locke, and William Gladstone. These are some fun facts about the church. Great Tom is 101 times at 9:05 p.m. for 2 different reasons. The first being for the 100 students attached to the foundation by Henry VIII, plus the additional student added by the president in 1663. And the second reason is to signify curfew for the students every night. Now, while the students no longer have a curfew at the college, the bell still chimes every night to signify the curfew. Additionally, there's 2 stories from 2 different porters from the college. One of them, Mr. Ward, tried to run around the entire club while the clock chimed at midnight, a task he could never accomplish. And the second one, charged with the rather arduous task of pulling the 101 chimes, thought it would be a great idea to do this after having a drink to make the task easier. However, after getting drunk, he repeatedly lost count of the numbers of times he had told, forcing himself over again.
Okay. I think we kind of get the message. This Oxford University was an inspiration for Hogwarts. Okay, they're just a little proof. Those things that we watch with Harry Potter, again, those are things that have made, that pop culture has done to make things more acceptable in society. Okay, and this is something else we're going to watch watch a little bit about witchcraft in the media. Okay, again, these are higher levels of witchcraft that we're talking about.
The media has played a crucial role in the development of witchcraft as a religion. Some popular books targeted at teens, produced in large quantities by companies, are said to include only hokey love spells and include no discussion whatsoever of Wiccan beliefs. Such books, although spreading misconceptions about the religion, inspire teens to become interested in learning more about it. Additionally, modern TV shows centered around characters possessing witchy abilities play a crucial role in the new generation's understanding of the topic. A show titled Buffy the Vampire Slayer, produced in the late 1990s, follows the story of Buffy Summers, the latest young woman in the line of vampire slayers. Buffy possesses supernatural abilities that make her physically strong and able to fight demons. One important character is a lesbian witch named Willow, who, along with her other witch partner, Tara, aids Buffy in fighting demons. However, at one point in the series, Willow gets carried away and begins to use magic for wrong purposes, and as a result loses the trust of many of her friends, showing the negative effects of misusing magic. Regardless, most key female characters in the show are shown as being particularly strong due to their supernatural abilities. The show deals with important subjects tied to witchcraft, such as control, feminism, and gay rights.
You hear that? Control, feminism, and gay rights. All of that is getting tied into witchcraft. This was in the early 90s, okay? This was in the early 90s when this was coming out. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you were around in the early 90s, even if you didn't watch it, you knew what this was, okay?
Another popular series called Charmed centers around the story of three sisters known as the Charmed Ones, who are the most powerful good witches of all time, and it's their duty to protect the innocent from evil demons and warlocks, who are mostly males.
So you have good witches that are all women, and they're protecting everyone from males. Okay, imagine that. All the men warlocks are men. All the warlocks and the bad wizards are men.
An American sitcom called Sabrina the Teenage Witch, beginning as an animation, is about a girl who on her 16th birthday discovers she has magical powers and lives for most of the series with her 600-year-old aunts who are also witches and her magical talking cat Salem. Throughout the series, Sabrina learns that magic cannot easily fix all her problems, and she must take responsibility for her own actions. Bewitched, another comedy filmed in the 1970s, is about the dynamic between a young witch named Samantha and her normal mortal husband. In the series, she attempts to fulfill her role as a normal housewife, but her powers and her magical family, who disapprove of her marriage, get in the way. However, some Wiccans find that the type of witchcraft portrayed in these productions, although fun to watch because it is so unrealistic, is not relevant or helpful in giving people information about the witchcraft religion. Some also complain that the witches in these shows are portrayed as either young, beautiful women or old, ugly hags, both presenting unrealistic, stereotypical images of the witch. They claim the media depicts witches as sexual objects and gives viewers the wrong idea about who witches really are. The sexuality of women in the Wiccan religion is both a sensitive and important issue that Wiccans say is greatly distorted by the media. Additionally, such shows depict hackneyed themes like good versus evil that are contradictory to the beliefs of Wiccans. Generally, Wiccans believe that no one and nothing is good or evil, since everything and everyone is connected and contributing to the earth in some way.
So no one and nothing is evil. Again, there's no judgment with none of this, okay? It just goes on and on and on and on and on, okay? We're going to get another little clip about the history of witchcraft in the media as well. So you got a little history on the witchcraft shows that were being played out. Okay, now we're going to look at what the women journalists are saying, and I want you to kind of pay attention to what the sister in the middle is talking about witch doctors, okay?
This is The Rundown. I'm Hari Srinivasan. We have a special edition of our program today. We are joined by two of the four winners of the International Women's Media Foundation Courage Awards, and I'm gonna try on the names here. Claudia Duque from Colombia and Vicky Nitatema from Tanzania. All right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what these awards are for, but also why you received them. You are both journalists that are working in very difficult conditions. Claudia, let's start with you a little bit. You have been living in and out of Colombia for several years, partly because of one of the stories that you did decades ago now. What was that story?
I was investigating the killing of Jaime Garzón. That was
He was a political journalist and a satirist.
that was murdered in 1999. The case is a good example of state crime in Colombia. We had discovered that there was a big operation of espionage against the civil society in Colombia carried out by the previous government, the Álvaro Uribe's government.
So you've had your phones tapped, you've had your email monitored, you've been followed, you've had pictures of your daughter video and so forth. And you travel not even with a bodyguard anymore, because even some of them have been untrustworthy.
Maybe the man is one of the worst, because I was under threat, and I discovered last year in the instructions designed by the secret police.
You found the instructions designed by the secret police against you.
Yeah, and my daughter that was 10 years old at that moment.
Okay, Vicky, let's talk a little bit about your story. You're based in Tanzania, and you decided to begin reporting on what witch doctors were doing with organs from albinos. Now,
okay, she's reporting what witch doctors are doing in Tanzania with organs from albinos. Okay, so witch doctors are taking organs from albinos. And watch, I want you to just pay attention to this.
to give us a little bit of perspective, there is still a lot of faith in witch doctors in Tanzania, right?
Tanzanian government lifted a ban on the practices of witch doctors, and they said the reason why they have lifted that ban is because 60% of Tanzanians go to witch doctors.
Wow. And so what was the specific thing you were investigating? What was happening with albinos?
I just wanted to know why persons with albinism are being murdered for their organs. And it was rumored then, before I started my investigation, that witch doctors are involved. That is why I went undercover as a businesswoman.
And what did you find?
They admitted that they use body parts of persons with albinism to make magic potions in order to make people successful. And their clients range from businessmen and women to politicians, CEOs, the police, even religious leaders. When they want.
So you hear that? Even religious leaders, they use this stuff to make them successful. They're using organs to make potions and to make things more successful for religious leaders. Okay? So all of this is stemming into the upper level of witchcraft. And we getting there. We getting there. She's almost finished.
And promotion.
It was discovered that you were taping these folks, and since then you've been in danger?
And so I was leaving from one house to another, one hotel, one motel to another, shifting in order to confuse people who were following me. I started wearing a veil.
So sometimes a burqa or a veil, just so
Yes.
that they couldn't see your face?
In Dar es Salaam, where I live, there is a fence. This is an electric fence. And I've got 24 hours bodyguard services. My life hasn't gone back to normal.
So because she is exposing these religious leaders for the witchcraft that they're using to keep people in idolatry, stuck on stupid, she's being targeted, okay? And that's going on in Tanzania, which is kind of a remote part of the world, but that's just a smaller case of what's going on in the world, okay? Now, that's going to bring us into, we go from Tanzania, if everybody's still with me, if we go from Tanzania to now coming to the United States, there is a thing called spirit cooking. Spirit cooking, okay? Now we're talking about Fox. Now we're talking about the highest level of witchcraft right now. Modern day witchcraft, all right? Let me go ahead and roll this. This is real short, real short.
We can never be together as long as we have a divider-in-chief in our president, Barack Obama, supporting this woman who's got the FBI crawling all over her. I think that's more important than trying to link Donald Trump to the KKK. How about she's under federal investigation? How about this spirit cooking we're watching in the WikiLeaks? How about this child sex trafficking ring we're reading about in WikiLeaks? That's far more important to Mrs. Clinton than the KKK.
See, they got to shut her down now. You see that? You see how they're shutting her down? They're like, no. We want to talk about Donald Trump being a racist.
Yeah.
That's what we want to talk about.
She was about to expose everything.
Yeah, she's not talking about Donald Trump. She's talking about Hillary Clinton. Okay, that's what she's talking about. Because if y'all know something, Barack Obama's gone. Okay, he's not the president. But where's Hillary Clinton? She's still in office. She still got her position. These people have had their position since the 90s when her husband was president and threw our people into the worst mass incarceration in the history of this country. They called it 3 strikes. She's part of the family. Exactly. She's part of the family. We're going to bring that out. She's part of the family. All right? Check this out.
Okay.
There it is. It's not what we need.
Yeah,
We're gonna bring
reading
it
about it. How about this child sex trafficking ring?
It's a child sex trafficking ring because they're taking the kids and they're using their organs. You understand? They're using their organs. Watch.
Reading about it, WikiLeaks. That's far more important than the KKK. The WikiLeaks. How about this child sex trafficking ring? We're watching in the. How about this spirit cooking?
The spirit cooking.
We're watching in the WikiLeaks. How about this child sex trafficking ring? We're reading about in WikiLeaks. That's far more important than the KKK.
It's not what we need.
Yeah, she's a closet racist.
We're going to have so much time for both of you over the next
She's
week.
out the closet now.
Okay, Brunel, we got to go. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us.
Had to shut her down. She had to shut her down. Like that wasn't gonna last very long. Okay.
She looked like a lady that needed to get slapped.
Okay. Okay. So we're only gonna watch a portion of this, and we're gonna get back to our understanding because Moab is getting ready to expose the fact that witchcraft is just not the occult. It's just not occult. Okay. Can one of y'all get the definition of occult for me? Look that up real quick. Because we got many different levels of this. Now we're on the upper level. You hear them talking about organs. We hear them talking about spirit cooking. We hear them talking about witchcraft and using these things to give religious leaders success. Okay? That was in a smaller part of the country. You got it? Go ahead, read it.
Occult, noun. Mystical, supernatural, or magical powers, practices, or phenomena. Adjective. Involving or relating to mystical, supernatural, or magical powers, practices, or phenomena.
Okay, keep going.
Medicine of disease.
A what?
Medicine.
A medicine. Go ahead.
Of a disease or process. Not accompanied by readily discernible signs or symptoms.
Okay, so there's no signs of it. Go ahead.
Abnormally present in feces or faces.
Abnormally present in feces. Okay, go ahead.
But detectable only chemically or microscopically. A verb. Cut off from view by interposing something.
Wait, say it again.
A verb. Cut off from view by interposing something.
Cut off from view by interposing something. By posing something else. So it's like, okay, I'm going to show you this. So you can't see this. This is the most common definition of the occult. Okay? Watch this. Lord, I'm going to bring it up.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And that these familiar spirits, for example, like they're animals, like and now we make kind of define a little bit of what witchcraft is, especially in the occult. I would say that witchcraft is one of the fastest growing lifestyles, mindsets, or I would even say religions today. And there's a difference between contemporary and traditional forms of witchcraft, which in my opinion is what witches used to practice back in the day, whereas now we actually see witchcraft a little bit differently. So I would say that contemporary witchcraft is more like Wicca. So Wicca is the worship of creation. So the sun, the moon, the earth, the stars, it's the idea of you are having a relationship with creation itself, and you are discovering that relationship with it. And it's usually through energy that you are in tune with like Mother Earth, you are in tune with the phases of the moon. That is what Wicca, that is the heart of what Wicca is. And
so we understand that Wicca and what these modern day witches are exhibiting is nature worship, okay? Nature worship and creation worship. And all of this is ancient Kemet. Let's go ahead and hit that light right quick. We'll go back to her. Okay. We're gonna get back to that, but we gotta keep it kind of light. Come on, bring your chair right here. So when we talk about some of these ancient worship, this ancient idol worship, these ancient deity worship, we got to understand that the scripture talk profusely about it. Okay. Let's go to let's go to the book of Exodus. Chapter 7. We'll start at verse 8. Exodus chapter 7, verse 8. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Exodus chapter 7, verse 8. And Yahweh spake unto Moses unto Aaron, saying, When Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, Shew a miracle for you, then thou shalt say unto Aaron, Take thy rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent.
So the Most High told Aaron and Moses, when Pharaoh asks you to show me a miracle, cast your rod in front of him, and it'll turn into a serpent. Okay, read on.
Verse 10. And Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so as Yahweh had commanded.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent.
So Aaron did what the Most High said, and it became a serpent. Read on.
Verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, now the magicians of Egypt.
Now what?
The magicians of Egypt.
The magicians of Egypt, come on.
They also did in like manner with their enchantments.
So they did the same thing. They casted theirs down and theirs turned into a snake. Okay? So they had power too. Go ahead.
Verse 12. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents.
And theirs became serpents, just like Aaron's. But go ahead.
But Aaron's rod swallowed up their rod.
So Aaron's serpents swallowed theirs up. So there's a similitude there. Okay? Read verse 13.
And he hardened Pharaoh's heart, and that he hearkened not unto them as Yahweh had said.
So he told him what to do. And then what happened was that the power of the Most High was stronger than the power of the Egyptians. Even though they did the same thing, they were able to manipulate this power and use this power. Okay? That's the same thing that we're seeing here in modern day fashion. We're seeing this in modern day fashion because there's power in this stuff, there's deceit in this stuff. It's out here, but it's not the power of the Most High. Okay? But it is a power, and it has power over our people. All right? I wanted to show correlation in that because it's very prevalent to what we're teaching. Let's go to Galatians 5 and 19. Let's go to Galatians 5 and 19. In the New Testament, for any of my Christian brothers and sisters who have questions about these things in the New Testament, let's find out about it. Go ahead and bring it out, son.
Galatians chapter 5, verse 19.
No, let's start at 18.
Verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law.
So if we're led by the Spirit, we're not under the law. The law of what? The law of sacrifice. Okay, the law, the condemnations and the curses of the law, meaning that if we break the law and we're walking in the Spirit because we're trying to get it right, we don't get put to death. Okay, we don't get put to death as soon as it happens. We now have grace. Read on.
Verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest.
So these are the works of the flesh. Okay, go ahead.
Which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness,
which is lust, evil thoughts. Go ahead.
Idolatry. Witchcraft.
What? Witchcraft. Go ahead.
Hatred. Variance.
Emulations. Wrath. Strife. Seditions. Heresies. Come on. Envyings. Go ahead. Murders. Drunkenness. Revelings. These are a bunch of fighters. People that want to fight all the time. Go ahead.
And such like. Of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall
all the ones that do these things, come on,
shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim.
Shall not inherit the kingdom of God. So we got to understand something. We think that there's not any laws in place. We think that there's nothing to govern our behavior in this society based on the fact that we follow Genesis to Revelation, and it's right here. It's right here. And one of the main things that has controlled our society and our people and has led us astray from Genesis, from the time of the book of Genesis, has been witchcraft. Okay? We're going to go back into this clip, and I want to go ahead and hit that light, son. And I want to finish up right here what she's bringing out. Okay.
But I do believe that the highest level of traditional witchcraft involves demonic power. And that is something that not a lot of...
demonic power, okay? This is the highest level of witchcraft, spoken by a witch, okay?
Witches do know, especially those who practice more of a contemporary kind of style today. And this is usually something that is shielded from most of the members of the coven. So it'll be the people at the very top.
You hear that? The people at the very top. Because it's shielded from everybody else. You heard what she said, right? And what were you reading? What was that definition?
Occult.
Occult? What was that again? Give me that verb again.
Pretty much hidden. Cut off from view by interposing something.
Cut off from view by interposing something. So you're posing something else, and it's cut off from view from everybody else, okay?
Not even just like leaders of groups, but like the leader of the entire organization. Those are the people that know how related witchcraft is to demonic power, because the source of witchcraft actually comes from demonic power. So
everybody understand that? The source of real witchcraft comes from demonic power. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing good about it. And this is spoken by somebody who's into witchcraft. She knows what she's dealing with. You understand that? This ain't just scripture. We're talking about real demonic energy that she's talking about when it comes down to witchcraft, okay? I wanted to make sure that we got a little understanding and went into a little depth on that. And Iverson, I want you to read a scripture. I want you to go to Deuteronomy 12 and 23. Okay. Deuteronomy 12 and 23. And read through 25. Go ahead and just read it loud.
Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 23.
Uh-huh.
Only be sure that thou eat not the blood.
Only be sure eat thou what?
That thou eat not the blood.
That thou eat not the blood. Go ahead.
For the blood is life.
Uh-huh.
And thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh.
So we don't eat the life with the flesh. This is why our food, according to the law, us as Israel, we always eat our food well done, right? Our food is always well done. We don't eat our food with blood in it. We're not supposed to eat the blood because the blood is life.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt not eat it.
Uh-huh.
Thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 25. Thou shalt not eat it.
We pour it out. We don't eat it. Go ahead.
That it may go well with thee,
Uh-huh.
and with thy children after thee.
Uh-huh.
When thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of Yahweh.
So we're supposed to do what's right in the sight of the Most High. Okay. What was that? That is Deuteronomy chapter 12,
verse 23.
Verse 23. Okay. Now, okay. So now we're getting ready to understand something. We're getting ready to understand what spirit cooking is.
Grams of pure jealousy steamed for a long time, evaporates. I don't know who they're attacking, but they do have a little baby in the corner with blood all over and everything like that. So this is kind of bizarre. Again, these are not pictures somebody took behind. These are her own photography taking pictures of goat's blood and all kind of demonic devil bone stuff or another. I don't know, man. I don't. You see it. You write it for yourself. I mean, this is the folks that are hobnobbing with parties with the top people in the federal government about to be president of the United States, which is why part of the reason she lost the election. Even white folks were like, nah, buddy. You know, I mean, we brother, but we ain't that much brother. So white folks were like, nah, this is creepy. So it's not just politicians, though. Here are some of the most popular individuals in society that are affecting the minds of our children, that are running around with Marina Abramovic in pools of blood with, I don't know what it is, and doing Pacers choices with naked black dudes in white chalk, like Orisha kind of something or another, but not Orisha because they gawking in the back like something out of Get Out or something. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I just look at it and be like, I'm not going to be the only one running around going, this is sick. I'm going to show y'all, make y'all do the same thing I have to do. Figure out what this is. You know what I'm saying? That's why we understand the psychology of the homophile.
See that? Y'all see that, right?
Nope.
You guys don't understand what you're looking at. In case you don't understand what you're looking at, we are looking at the highest level of the occult and witchcraft in this country. All right?
They're your Kardashians, who they buddy with. The spirit cooker. Uh-oh. What?
see anything wrong with that.
Yes. What happened? What
understand?
What was happening?
They paid for this. She's one of them. They pay to look into her eyes. These elites come to pay to look into her eyes. That's part of the spirit cooking ritual too, so that she can invoke whatever it is and put inside of them. So
demonic power is the highest level of witchcraft. She is eye to eye with Jay-Z. And what is Jay-Z doing? Rapping in everybody's video, right? He's on every song playing to who? To us, to Israel. We're the ones buying this stuff. We're the ones listening to this stuff. And who's he married to? Come on, man. Look, the rabbit hole goes deep.
See, can I say that he was at a spirit cooking dinner? Not exactly. What we can say, whoever knows her that's introducing you to them, it's no excuse for me you hanging out with them. Because it's not just him, you know. Hey, bro.
Look at that. Look at that. This is her.
Yeah.
Huh?
Who's that?
Beyonce.
That's Beyonce.
She's.
They're at the same table.
She's white.
That lady is 75 years old. She's almost 80 years old.
She's almost 80 years old.
Almost 80 years old.
Almost 80 years old.
Who? The witch?
Yes.
Marina.
And honestly,
Abramovich.
look at her. She don't look almost 80 years old.
Yeah. Y'all see what we're dealing with here?
She looks 80.
Saints preserved.
Hey, listen. This is the highest level. We are dealing with the highest levels of witchcraft right here. Okay? These are the highest levels of witchcraft. These people that we look up to, and when we go to that 1 Samuel, when I go to that 1 Samuel chapter, and I read that 12th chapter, right? Like the 15th chapter, 2 Samuel. When I read the 12th chapter, 15th chapter of the 23rd verse, it says, rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as the iniquity of idolatry. These people have turned into our idols in this country. People worship Beyonce. They worship the Kardashians. They worship all these people. And all these people are looking into the eyes of this lady. Okay? And this lady is on a whole nother level of demonic energy and demonic spirit. Okay?
Stand for me, because the beehive about to come after me, brother. I know the beehive about to come. I can't do this good of photography, what they call it, photoshopping. Who's that at the table? Marina Abramovich. Who's that? Getting our people to fall in love with folks that are involved in some of the sickest madness you can possibly imagine. Who's?
Look at that. Look at that. These are our people. It's witchcraft. It's witchcraft. It's all witchcraft.
That? Who's that? Who's that? But if we listen closely, we'll understand. People tell us what's going on all the time. But if we don't know the homophile psychology, if we don't have any familiarity with this stuff, we have no idea what they're talking about. But if we listen now, we might understand a little bit differently.
Yeah, my flesh, no nigga could test. My soul is possessed by the evils in the form of diamonds and Lexuses. The exorcist got me doing sticks like homie. You don't know me, but the whole world hold me stripped. Was thought to be a pleasant guy, yo, my f***ing life. So now I'm down for whatever. Ain't nothing nice. Throughout my junior high years, it was all friendly. But now this higher learning got the Remy in me. Liquors invaded my kidneys. Got me ready to let go of mama, forgive me. I can't be held accountable to evil beating me down, bro. Got me running with God, making G's, telling lies that sound true. Come test me, I never cower. For the love of money, son, I'm giving lead showers. Stop screaming, you know the demon said it's best to die. And even if Jehovah Witness bet, he'll never testify. The evil.
See that? Y'all see what we're dealing with? See, it gets darker and deeper than this, but for the sake of my audience, I'm not gonna expose what I could expose as it pertains to spirit cooking. Okay, because this stuff is going on now. This is modern day witchcraft at its highest level, at its peak, right here. Right here. And we just look at it as music. We just look at it as entertainment, as a form of entertainment. Okay. Let's see. I may have already played this one, and we'll just probably play this one. Yeah, we've already played this one, but we're gonna play it again. Watch
We
this.
can never be together as long as we have a divider in chief in our president, Barack Obama, supporting this woman who's got the FBI crawling all over her. I think that's more important than trying to link Donald Trump to the KKK. How about she's under federal investigation? How about this spirit cooking we're watching in the WikiLeaks? How about this child sex trafficking ring we're reading about in WikiLeaks? That's far more important than the KKK.
See, and that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like, oh no, it's just a conspiracy theory. Nobody has to listen to that. Well, the problem with conspiracy theories is sometimes it's true. And a lot of the things that we look right here, that we're looking at here as it pertains to witchcraft, it's hard to believe, but it's very true. Very, very true. Does anybody have anything that they want to bring out, or anything that they want to say about what they just watched?
Yeah, that lady is like supposed to be a performance artist. She's been doing this for over 10 years, if not longer. She's just more out now, but she's been doing this for a long time. And it was said that she would be using like animal blood, but it's probably children's blood, animal blood, and her saliva and nitric acid to make artwork and do things on plates and things like that. So it's like a lot of stuff. She's, does a lot of things in New York. At the time, 2000, she should be about 74 years old now, because this was a lot of stories back in 2016, and things like she'll write like take a sharp knife, cut deeply into the middle finger on your left hand, eat the pain.
Wow.
Eat the pain?
Yeah.
Wow. Read that again.
It says,
so what is this that you're reading again?
This was November 4, 2016, and one of her writings was spirit cooking, and it was like trending on Twitter at one point. It says, with a sharp knife, cut deeply into the middle finger of your left hand, eat the pain. And it talks about how first the term spirit cooking surfaced in a WikiLeaks email dump, which included an email from Tony Podesta to his brother John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign chair. The email was a forward from Marina Abramovic, a performance artist who performed some really bizarre things. And it was an email about them attending the spirit cooking in 2016. That's what she's talking about. That email, that's what that lady was talking about on this newscast.
About
it's a dinner email, from Podesta to John Podesta.
Right.
That's her chair. And
right.
So this was New York, July 9th, 2016, around the time with Trump and all that.
Right.
But she's like, Marina wants you to come to the dinner. Will your brother be to the spirit cooking dinner? Will your brother be joining? And that was from that lady, Abramovic. It talks about how she
don't stop it.
To just gaze in her eyes.
I can't turn it off.
Like most of the elite pay to gaze in her eyes.
Okay, so they're paying her to gaze into her eyes.
Into her eyes, and to be at those rituals. Like you can either get invite or you can pay for that. That's what Jay-Z was doing. I'm sure he probably didn't have to pay, but that's what he was doing. He was more than likely at one of the spirit cookings, and that was probably the performance, and that's going to keep him at the top.
Wow.
No matter who likes him or not.
Watch one. I stumbled.
No, I don't want to play it now. Here, make sure that okay, so we have now we now have something called spirit cooking that is actually giving us a understanding of what they're really doing at these parties and these meetings. Okay, and it has to do with eating the blood, sacrifices, and all kind of wickedness, right? How's that looking? Okay, so this is going to be the last little clips that we're going to kind of go through, and this is a series. Matter of fact, I want to read this one more time, as it pertains to what we were talking about before. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 23. Okay, I'm going to read Deuteronomy 12 and 23. You got it? No, I'll bring it up. 12 and 23. Okay. Only be sure that thou eat not the blood, for the blood is life, and thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh. Thou shalt not eat it. Thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water. Thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of Yahweh. So we are not supposed to be eating blood. That is one of the first rituals that they make you do when you come into these elites, when you come into this upper echelon of this upper class society. Okay. Now, what we're getting ready to take a look at is a series called The Family, which the Most High sent across Nava's desk, and she shared it with me. I took an examination, and I can't believe that they're putting this stuff out here. And we're talking about the upper levels of witchcraft. This is where it begins. Let's watch this.
Jesus said, you have to put me before other people, and you have to put me before yourself. Hitler, that was a demand to be in the Nazi party. They had to put the Nazi party and its objectives ahead of their father, mother, brother, sister, and their own right. That was a covenant, a pledge. But the real work is invisible. And it is invisibly spreading.
He said that the real work is invisible, and it's invisibly spreading. That's what he said. Okay.
The more you can make your organization invisible, the more influence it will have.
The more you can make your organization invisible, the more influence you can have. Okay, pay attention to what's being said.
They will accuse me of betraying their trust. And in a fundamental way, I did. They want to be a secret, invisible organization. I wrote 2 books about them. But this story is no longer just about my experience.
It took a long time before I realized just who the family was and the influence they have had in the leadership of our country.
This was a group with tentacles around the world, meeting with presidents, foreign leaders, to spread their view of Jesus throughout the world.
The National Prayer Breakfast, a Washington institution for Republican and Democratic presidents since Eisenhower.
Look at that. Is this a national prayer breakfast surrounded by a Christian mafia? Religious publicity and secrecy within the corridors of power, right? And what occult means that it has to be hidden from view, right? Okay.
I want to thank all those inside and outside of Congress who made this all possible.
Said he's the most powerful man in Washington you've never heard of. He's like the Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz. He's like the Wizard of Oz. And you know what the Wizard of Oz did? He was behind the scenes, right? He was behind the scenes. You never actually saw the Wizard of Oz. He was the puppet master, okay? Doing witchcraft, the puppet master.
You say more about it, but it's working precisely because it is private.
We need to reach leaders, and then if you reach the leaders, then the whole nation will be influenced for Christ.
The notion was floated, what if we lived together?
That's part of the group called C Street.
When I was in Washington, Governor Mark Sanford, Senator John Ensign, all embroiled in scandal.
Doing the Lord's work in the devil's playground.
We mean, how do you do the Lord's work in the devil's playground?
Don't.
Okay. No, you can. You can do the Lord's work in the devil's playground as long as you're not part of the devil's people. You can do that. If you're part of the Lord's people, you can do that. But when you're the devil's people, watch.
With some really horrible people, dictators and murderers and thieves.
If I were a bad faith actor from another country, that is exactly the kind of meeting that I would want to exploit.
Everybody in the room had their hands on this president-elect.
This is what the family's been waiting for.
See that? Let's see what he's doing. Let's see this. Okay, this is, there's a term that's mentioned one time in the Bible, and the term and the name or the title is Lucifer. That's the title. Is Lucifer. Okay.
He's God's man.
And they say it's about faith, but there's a shared understanding that what we're really about here is power.
Yeah.
I lived with those guys. Prayed with them at their headquarters, the seat of their power. There were congressmen, senators, world leaders, an invisible organization who've been hiding in plain sight for over 80 years.
People think that there's something sinister. There has to be a conspiracy. And it's the furthest thing from the truth.
It's a breathtaking enmeshment of church and state.
A humble example of leadership that the world has never seen.
That is a corruption of democracy.
It's the power of God. This is something that the world desperately needs.
All worry will be left behind.
Okay. So, you see this? Who's that?
Caesar Borgia.
God-led leaders. National Prayer Breakfast, White House group, judicial groups, the Cedars, C Street. These are locations that they have these little cliques. Okay. Watch.
All disappointment, too, will be gone forever.
We adopted a program for worldwide spiritual effects.
Now look at this. Check this out. Fellowship. See the eagle back there, right? Evangelism, prayer, witnessing, obedience. Jesus Christ. Here, what is the fellowship? A family. What is the message? Jesus Christ plus nothing. This, on the surface, it looks like one thing. Right? It looks like one thing, right?
I know as never before that we are all God's children.
See that? Look at these. Look at all this. This is phase
There's only
one. What they call phase one. What they call phase one right here.
I know as never before that we are all God's children.
Nigeria, Romania, Uganda, Ethiopia, Guatemala, Ukraine, Egypt, Siberia, Brazil, Jordan, Germany, Russia, Norway, Saudi, Bolivia, China. Is that in the middle?
There is only one thing.
You see this? You see why it's a tree? You know why it's a tree?
Why?
This is the U.S. Capitol building. You know why it's a tree? It's a family tree. It's a family tree. I want to get Psalms chapter 83. I want you to read that out. Psalms chapter 83. You can start at verse 2. Psalms 83.
83 and what?
Psalms 83, verse 2.
Let's see.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
Make a tumult.
I
A
know
tumult
as never
is
before.
a very loud noise.
We are
Okay.
all
Hold on.
God's children.
Hold on one second. I want to pull this up. Okay. Go ahead.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They have taken crafty counsel. Okay. Go ahead.
And consulted against thy hidden ones. Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Let us cut them off from being what?
A nation.
Let us cut them off from being a nation. Go ahead.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Okay, so the name of Israel is no longer in remembrance. We think we black. We think we niggas, Spics, Mexicans, okay, Indians. That's what we think. This is not his name. And the thing is when we look at all of the people that are Confederate, they're all together. Read that.
Read.
Keep going.
Keep going. Okay. Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent.
They are consulted together with one consent. And what else?
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against the Most High. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom. That's the so-called white man. Those are the Europeans. Go ahead.
And the Ishmaelites.
The Ishmaelites. Those are the Arabs. Go ahead.
Of Moab.
Of Moab. Those are the Chinese. Go ahead.
And the Hagarenes.
And the Hagarenes. Go ahead.
Gebal.
Gabal. Go ahead.
And Ammon.
And Ammon. Go ahead. Those are Ammon is another the Japanese. Go ahead.
And Amalek.
And Amalek. Those are the so-called Jews. Go ahead.
The Philistines.
The Philistines, and who else?
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
Of Tyre, and who else?
Ashur.
These are all Africans. Go ahead.
Also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot Selah.
They have hope in the children of Lot. So basically, you have all these nations that are confederate together with one consent against the Most High. Okay? So all of them have made a noise because they all got together. They've all lifted up their head. They're all strong together. They think that they can contend against the Most High. That's what we're seeing right now. This is the highest level of witchcraft that we're learning. Okay?
There is only one thing we can take with us through that door. Those whom we have led to the Savior.
Fear him. Love him. Submit yourself completely. Then you
see this? So the work of discipleship. Everybody see that, right? Y'all see this, right? Y'all really want to know? This is Lucifer. This is the Luciferian doctrine that we read about in the book of Isaiah. Let's go there real quick. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, I believe it's the 14th chapter. Uh, 12th verse. Read that. Isaiah 14, verse 12. We'll start there.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning?
So how have thou fallen from heaven? Heaven is the rulership. Okay, that's the highest level. Go ahead.
How art thou cut down to the ground,
Mm-hmm.
which didst weaken the nation?
He did weaken the nations when he fell. Okay, this is future prophecy about Lucifer falling from heaven. Okay, people take this as this is Satan. This is not Satan. This is Lucifer. Go ahead.
For thou hast said in thine heart,
Mm-hmm.
I will ascend into heaven.
And you will ascend into where?
Heaven.
Into heaven. Go ahead.
I will exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the side of the north.
So he's going to sit on the mount of the congregation, the mount of Israel. Okay, these are the children of Israel. He's going to sit on the children of Israel in the side of the north, which is where? North America, right where we're at now. Read on.
Verse 14. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds.
He's going to ascend above the heights of the clouds. Come on.
I will be like the Most High.
He's going to be like the Most High. Why do you think they're talking about the works of discipleship? You understand? Keep reading.
Verse 15. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell.
But he's going to be brought down to hell, so he's going to come out of his rulership. Okay, go ahead.
To the sides of the pit.
To the sides of the pit, come on.
Verse 16.
They
that see thee shall not narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man?
Is this the who?
The man.
Is this the what?
The man.
The man. Is this the is this the devil?
The man.
Is this the spirit?
The man.
Is this the angel?
The man.
Is this the man? Go ahead.
That made the earth to tremble.
That made the earth to tremble, and what else?
That did shake kingdoms.
And did shake kingdoms. This is what we're talking about, people. This is what we're talking about. This is the highest level of witchcraft. And this is what we're learning here and where we're bringing it all home. Okay? I'm going to finish right here.
It's just like that.
What we have begun.
Yeah. Okay. So here we have empowerment. We have the White House, the Cedars, role models, resources, communication, skill building. Okay? This is the purpose of how they deal with their society. This is how they build their society. Okay?
We will finish.
Look at that.
And it shows the way.
That's an eerie scene, right? That's kind of eerie, but it makes sense, right? They're putting it right in our face. They have to put it in our face to make it look like something else. And then when somebody brings it out, like the sister brought it out, oh yeah, no, that's a conspiracy theory, you know? Just get her off. Thank you. Yeah, that's nice. Bye. You know what I'm saying? And then they escort her over here and they stick her with a little tranquilizer and put her to sleep. You never see her on TV again. Okay? That's the way that family rolls. Okay? Let's see. Okay, and we're gonna get to some scenes here. I'm gonna go ahead and
We're gonna watch The Family.
Not all of it.
One of the things that I've always found interesting, even as a boy, is the idea that there are these battles between good and evil. That we are actively engaged in a war with the forces of evil every day. And that there are demonic influences in our lives. And that you have to be on guard. So as a boy, this on the one hand makes the world a much scarier place. On the other hand, it makes the world a much more exciting place.
So he said that there are always demonic forces that are trying to attack us, and we always have to be on guard, right? This is coming from Esau. This is coming from Esau seeing his own people right here.
My mother died of breast cancer. She was young and I was just a kid. She grew up in vaguely Pentecostal Christianity. And as she lay dying, she would invite members of various faiths in to pray with her. And I noticed some of them prayed for her salvation, that she would become a member of their faith even in death. And some of them prayed for her deliverance, for a reprieve from her suffering so that she might live longer. And that question of deliverance versus salvation, the world to come or freedom now, really struck me and has led me into all the stories that I've been interested in ever since.
See that?
That's my hand,
You see that? He wants to know what is occult.
No, he says what is a cult, not a cult.
When I was in my early 20s, I decided to write about religion. And I was living in New York and working on this book. And I'd heard that an old friend of mine, a man named Luke, was in town. Luke was a very promising guy from a sort of an upper class family and had a fine trajectory to his life. Engaged to be married and building a financial career. But then he left all that and moved across the country to join what his family feared was a cult. And he seemed to just drop out, just to disappear. And so his family said, because they knew.
So in one of the definitions is to disappear? To disappear and reappear, right? I mean, he had to be separated from his family, right?
I wrote about religion. They said, would you meet with him and sort of see what he's up to? This was very shortly after 9/11. And one of the things he said he was there for, he wanted to survey the ruins of secularism. But he said, now we see clearly this is a battle between good and evil. And he seems to be a transformed person. He told me about this amorphous thing that he had joined. He says, they're not Christians. We're followers of Jesus. And
they're not Christians, they're followers of Jesus.
What's the difference?
Okay, watch.
Just serve.
Who do you serve?
Men who are chosen by God for leadership.
That's who they serve. They serve men who are chosen by God for leadership. That's who they serve. They don't serve the creator. They serve the creation. Okay? A matter of fact, I want you to get
You were supposed to destroy the city, not join them.
I want you to get Romans, the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 25. Romans chapter 1, verse 25.
Romans chapter 1, verse 25. Who changed the truth of God into a lie.
Who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie. Okay? These devils did. Go ahead.
And worshiped and served the Creator.
He worshipped and served what?
The Creator more than the creature more than the Creator.
They're worshiping and serving the creature rather than the Creator. And that's who they serve. They serve the creature, which are men that have been put in power by their people. Okay? And that's what we're looking at right here. This is the highest level, family. Forget the witches with the witches brew and on the broomsticks and got the Hansel and Gretel kit at the house. Nah, forget about that. This is the highest level. Look, check this out.
Politicians. Is there an organization?
No. Politicians, men in power.
No church, no ministers, no rules and rituals. Do you read the Bible though, right? Oh, sure. But mostly we work. We rake leaves, play basketball, clean toilets. Wait.
Yeah, that's what they do.
They play basketball.
We clean toilets for politicians. I know it sounds weird, but it's not. It's just a bunch of guys living together. It's great.
It seemed so simple. And then he invited me to come see it for myself. And knowing almost nothing of it, I did.
And that's the thing. They worship the creature rather than the creator. Okay? I'm skip ahead a little bit right here. Get into the meat of it.
With this Jesus.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. And so we would pray to crush what we would call our inner rebel.
Jeff? Hey, so you're writing a lot down? Yeah. Are you listening? I know it's a lot to take in, but this is all you really need. It's the Bible. It's the part that matters. It's just Jesus.
The part that matters, right? This is the part that matters to them, okay?
One of the things that surprised me was that though most of these men were very scripturally literate, they didn't care very much about the Bible. There was a small book that you're given, this little book that says Jesus. That's it, just Jesus, nothing else. And it was 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
This is what they gave them. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and what they call the Acts of Ambassadors. Okay? The scripture says if any man adds to or takes away from this book, the curses will be added onto him. These people have taken the Gospels, which got nothing to do with them, first of all. They have taken the Gospels and they are twisting them to do what they want them to do. Okay? Watch.
With the book of Acts referred to here as Acts of Ambassadors. And they didn't need to read too much further than that. There's not a whole lot of theology. There's no wrestling with God, with conscience, traditional concerns of fundamentalism. They won't talk about the devil. Just Jesus. Just Jesus. That's all.
Which part can this was Psalm 137? 137.
Listen what he's finna quote. Psalms 137. Okay? Listen to what he's finna quote. Okay? Go ahead. Watch this.
Daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed.
The daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed. Watch this. We're going to read
Happy
this.
shall he be that taketh the little ones and dasheth them against the stones. Which part of this would be in that? Jeff, brother, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure he'll let you know.
Listen. Let's go to 137. Let me show you what Esau was looking at. 137 Psalms 137.
Verse what?
Psalm 137.
It's channeling first.
Let's start at verse 7. Go ahead and read that, brother.
Psalms 137, verse 7.
Uh-huh.
Remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem.
The children of Edom, go ahead.
Who said, raise it, raise it.
Raise it, raise it, meaning destroy them. Go ahead.
Even to the foundation thereof.
Uh-huh.
O daughter of Babylon.
Uh-huh. O daughter of Babylon, go ahead.
Who are to be destroyed.
Uh-huh.
Happy shall he be
uh-huh.
that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us.
So who's serving the daughter of Babylon? Edom. That's what he just got through saying. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stone.
Happy shall he be when they take the little ones and dash them against the stones. He just asked him, what does Jesus have to do with that? He ain't got no answer. Just read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Don't worry about that. You know why? Because there are judgments in there. That's why they don't want him to read it. Okay? That is another form of witchcraft. That's why he's like, this don't make no sense, because what I learned the Old Testament too. I'm reading the Old Testament too. He's like, no. You only need to read the part that matters. Right? Just Jesus. That's what he's telling them. Okay?
It's time.
It's the family.
It's that Christianity's been misunderstood. That all the rubes out there, the suckers, they think that Christ came to preach equally to everybody. Not so.
Right? He didn't come to preach equally to everybody, did he?
Nope.
He didn't come to preach who they think he's teaching either. But they know the difference.
They said he had rings of power. Closest are James and Peter. And then you go out another circle and there's the disciples. And out here is everybody else. And they'll get the message, but they won't get it in unvarnished form. They can't handle the truth.
So the people that are on the outside of the circle can't handle the truth. And that's really what we see when we start bringing this truth out. You see what I'm saying? But because they've changed the truth of the Lord into a lie and started worshiping the creation rather than the creator, this is what we're seeing right here.
If you go to Psalms 137, start from there, from verse 1, and it literally, you can see how it talks about almost like what happened to our ancestors, and it gets to that, like for what they've done.
Read that, Anderson.
Verse 1.
137. Psalm 137, verse 1. They keep going all the way to verse 9.
Psalm 137, verse 1. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yea, we wept. When we remembered Zion, we hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst of thereof. Verse 3. For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song.
They required of us a song. They made us sing songs. Go ahead.
And they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion.
That always happened in slavery, right? They made us shuck and jive. They made us dance. They made us kick with the pricks. We kicking up against the pricks, trying to keep up with Esau and do the things they want us to do. We shuck and jive. We sing and dance. That's all we do. Go ahead.
Verse 4. How shall we sing Yahweh's song in a strange land?
How can we sing his song in a strange land? Come on.
If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. Verse 6. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom.
Remember the children of Edom. Go ahead.
The day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, even to the foundation thereof.
Go ahead.
Verse 8. O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed, happy shall he be and rewarded thee as thou hast served us.
When he asked him that, he was like, man, I don't know. He'll tell us when it's time, brother. Isn't that what he told him? Because that don't have nothing to do with their kingdom. This has to do with our kingdom, okay, and how they fall. That's what this has to do with. This is King David prophesying the daughter of Babylon being destroyed. And the daughter of Babylon is right here. We're living in these times, brothers and sisters. This is what's going on.
The boys are outside landscaping and
this is one of the neighbors.
And the kids there said that they would continue to do this until God spoke to them and gave them their instructions for the rest of their life. And I said, I have to say that for a bunch of people in their 20s, these are abnormally passive. While I was in the boys' dormitory, one of them said, you know, we have a Tuesday night prayer meeting. Why don't you join us? So I went to their Tuesday night prayer meetings week after week after week. What they offered their followers is a sense of belonging, a kind of unquestioning, we're with you through thick and thin. And there's something very alluring about that. I wouldn't mind being accepted by a group of people unquestioningly. I only got a little glimpse of their theology, and I really don't know about their form of Christianity, or if even they are all Christians. But when I learned how they're very unapologetically targeting the rich and powerful, I found that to be disturbing. But I never asked any impolite questions. I just sat and listened. And then the following week, there was no prayer meeting, and there was no prayer meeting ever again after that.
They got rid of her. She didn't think something was right. She's like, why are y'all targeting all these rich people? You know, she may not have thought that she was being rude, but just the idea of her asking questions, she had to go. See, because they don't want people who can think for themselves. They want sheep. That's what organized religion wants. That's what all these organizations want. They want you to be asleep and not be aware of the witchcraft that they're casting on. Because that's really what's going on. They're casting these lies on you and demonology. All right, I'm gonna skip through here.
I remember one day, I'd been there for a while, and one of the brothers, he says, guys, I have something for you to do. Arm wrestle.
That's dangerous.
And then someone yells fumble, and then suddenly they're piling on me and, hitting. At that time, I thought this is really strange, but as it turns out, there was actually a spiritual message to this. The Jesus that most of us are familiar with is tender and loving.
This is the Jesus they're talking about. This is the one they're talking about.
It keeps looking different.
Yeah, this is the one they're talking about. This is an initiation.
Different people.
Okay? This is the one they're talking about. This is the highest level of witchcraft. This is where they begin them. This is how they build them up. Okay?
He's the Lamb of God, a figure of peace and gentleness. But no, their idea of Jesus' love is strong. As they say, Jesus is not a sissy. And if Jesus was alive today, maybe he would be a Navy SEAL. If Jesus was alive today, he'd be great at football. And so this was spiritual training. It's a kind of a muscular Christianity.
Muscular Christianity.
And they were, as I came to understand, crushing Christ into me. This was the initiation in which all our bodies became one.
can't breathe. Guys, I can't breathe. It's
One falls down, his friend can help him up. You're one of us now. Come on, circle up.
So this was part of the initiation. Now you're one of us. You see that? Now you're one of us. It's hidden. It's hidden. It's implying one thing, but it's really something else. It's all hidden right here. Okay? Let me get through this.
And where are we skipping?
And where else is this happening? This is something that the world desperately needs.
So this is how you understand you're chosen.
You guys are here to learn how to rule the world.
He just told them that y'all are here to learn how to rule the world. Okay? Y'all heard that, right?
You have very intense eyes.
Thank you. Hey, let's talk about the Old Testament. Who would you say are its good guys?
Moses, Noah, David.
King David, that's a good one. What would you say made him a good guy? His faith was so strong. King David liked to do some really bad things. And this was a guy who slept with another man's wife, Bathsheba, right? And he basically murders her husband. And this guy is supposedly one of our heroes? And Jiminy Christmas, God likes this guy.
Jiminy Christmas.
What is it all about?
What's Jiminy Christmas?
Is it because he tried? He wanted to do the right thing?
Anyone else?
Because he was chosen?
Yeah.
Chosen.
Interesting set of footballs, isn't it? Let's say I hear one of you rape 3 little girls and now you're sitting here at Ivanhoe. What would I think of you?
That I'm a terrible person?
That's not why I'm here. It's not my job to judge you.
He said it's not his job to judge you. So no, I don't think you're a bad person. You raped 3 little girls, I don't think you're a bad person.
He says it's bad.
Even though that's horrible, even though that goes against the commandments, according to what's being taught here, that's not bad. I'm not here to judge you. But we're supposed to judge righteous judgment, right? Didn't we just read about judging righteously according to the Bible? Well, I could go into the scripture and show what's supposed to happen to a man that takes a woman by force. He's supposed to be put to death. But here, I don't judge him.
I'm here for one thing. What is that?
Jesus?
That disturbing moment sort of crystallizes it for me. This core idea that some people are more chosen than others. And if you're chosen, doesn't matter what you do, I'd still be with you. And then he said, we elect our leaders.
Jesus elects his.
We elect our leaders. Jesus elects his. You got friends on the other side. They keep talking about friends, right? Remember we heard the song, The Princess Bride? I got friends on the other side. He's talking about his friends on the other side. Not on this side, but the friends on the other side. All these people are part of an organization that has nothing to do with our world. You know, our world as Israel. This has to do with all of those that are unified and confederate against the Most High. Okay? This is Lucifer at his peak, casting witchcraft on the whole world, deceiving the whole world. Okay?
Son chooses to reveal himself.
I didn't have to ask who was in charge because we talked about him often. It was a guy named Doug Coe.
And we're going to do everything we possibly can to be of help to you and your country.
He hates the limelight. It's not about him. It's about Jesus.
I wanted to give you a small gift of our small world.
He was introduced to me as sort of like a brother, but he's like the first brother. They said he was a very simple man who was closer to Jesus than anybody alive. And then if Doug Coe prayed for something, it just happened. They liked very much that nobody outside the family knew who Doug Coe was. They loved telling stories about how Doug Coe just showed up in some president's office or some prime minister's house. He was clearly a leader to this movement. And so, who is Doug Coe is what I really wanted to know at this point.
You know what I'm concerned about? The Muslim. The Muslim has too many babies. We killed too many of ours. What is the best way for the Christians to win the race against the Muslims? Too many Muslim babies could be a problem. But your focus on labels, Christian and Muslim, gets in the way of your prayers. Organized religion distracts from Jesus. We've got to take Jesus out of the religious wrapping.
How do we do that?
It's good to have friends. Do you know?
Yeah, it's good to have friends. So I'm not going to call you Muslim no more. I'm just going to call you a friend. I'm not going to call you a Christian. I'm just going to call you a friend. Okay? I'm not going to call you a certain religious sect. I'm not going to call you who you are. I'm going to call you a friend. We're going to make everybody one person. Okay? We're going to make everything all one and together and just call it Jesus. That's called a one world order. Okay? This is what they're building right now. Okay, go ahead.
And they even know that an organized religion gets in the way of what they want or what their God is.
Exactly.
So why should we be Christians or Muslims?
Right. Even their own religion gets in the way of what they want to accomplish. Exactly. So guess what? We don't have to stick to, we at the beginning, the God said that we're not Christians. We're not part of a Christian church, right? Just Jesus. So we'll just call it Jesus. That's what we'll call it. That's what's going on right here.
What a difference a friend can make, a friend that you can agree with. 2 or 3 friends agree and pray. They can do anything. Agreement. You're a writer. What's that mean?
Unity. Agreement means unity.
Total unity. You know, there's another word for that. A covenant.
Covenant.
A covenant. You understand? A covenant. Who else made a covenant? The Most High. The Most High. We just read it in the book of Isaiah. We just read in the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter, and the 14th verse. Read that one more time. Never mind, I'll get it. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 14. I will ascend above the heights of the cloud. I will be like the Most High. That's why they're creating the covenant. That's why they're creating their own mission, their own standard. Okay? They're making this look like what's in here. They're making it look like this is righteousness. But this is their own vain world. This is the world that we're living in.
Can you think of anyone who made a covenant with his friends?
Jesus.
Hitler. Hitler made a covenant. The mafia made a covenant. Look at the strength of their bonds.
Hitler bad.
It's a powerful thing. You see, with them, it's honor. With us, it's Jesus. Hitler, Stalin, Mao Zedong, Osama bin Laden.
The family possesses a weapon those leaders lacked: the total Jesus of a brotherhood in Christ. That's what you get with a covenant. Jesus plus nothing.
That phrase, Jesus plus nothing, simultaneously banal and totalitarian, leaves these congressmen sitting there as if they've been given a revelation. And it's just like other men have said, Doug helped bring me out of religion and into Christ.
Doug Coe was a saintly person who put other people first, put his relationship with the Lord first. And he didn't really want any accolades. I remember near the end of my season, I'm all like,
all Esau. All Esau. You see that? This is how they raised them up. This is how they raised them up.
Got to help plan a prayer breakfast. And I remember Doug specifically saying, hey, Google me and let's get any reference down. I just don't want to be, I don't want anybody to know. And to have a sense of I'm sort of this power figure behind this. I just, this is about the Lord. This is about bringing people together. This is about something much greater than me. What a wonderfully reassuring thing in a town that thrives on power and prestige and influence. So let's be influential, but let's do it quietly. So that was Doug.
Listen to this.
Jesus Christ, when he organizes, the way he puts the organization together, he makes it invisible. When you look at your body, you don't see your liver and your muscles and your brains hanging out. What he did is he took the finest organization and he put a beautiful skin over it. When you look at the mafia, they also use the same type of organization. Everything visible is transitory. Everything invisible is permanent and lasts forever. The more you can make your organization invisible, the more influence it will have.
The more you can make your organization invisible, the more influence it'll have. That is almost the direct definition of witchcraft. Right there. Right there. I'm going to scroll on. We're almost done here. But matter of fact, let's get the definition of occult one more time.
Occult. Now, mystical, supernatural, or magical powers, practices, or phenomena. Adjective. Involving or relating to mystical, supernatural, or magical powers, practices, or phenomena. Medicine of a disease or process not accompanied by readily discernible signs or symptoms.
The verb. Go down to the verb.
Cut off from view by interposing something.
Cut off from view by what?
Interposing something.
Cut off from view by interposing something. And that is exactly what he was talking about. Exactly what he was talking about. Okay, we'll get the...
But life at Ivanwald seemed to provide some clues. One night there was a social with our sister house, young women of this house called Potomac Point. Some of them were really young, and most were sort of in their mid-20s. And there was also a few wives of the senior men around who had these sort of den mother kind of roles. And they were intense. So obviously there would be no sex.
You were
Wedding?
I know you guys weren't friends.
The whole organization is based around this idea of male headship. That as Christ is to the church, so a man is to his family, and that there are these levels of hierarchy that must be observed throughout. It was the most gender segregated world I'd ever lived in. Right. And the women I got to speak to briefly would tell me that whereas the young men were being drawn into mentorship by maybe an influential senior member of the family, maybe a politician, maybe you were going to get a junior job in a political office. But the women, that wasn't happening for them. They were being mentored in service and directed toward relationships with men of the fellowship. They said appropriate matches was the goal.
Can I ask you something? You ever feel weird serving men?
No.
No.
No, they're so busy loving us, who's loving them.
See, what we have to understand is that our book, which is this book here, this is the way that you establish. Hey, Jaden, hit that light. Well, no, you know what? Let me wait. We got a little bit more. We're gonna finish here. Our book is the way that you establish a nation and a government, and this book has been hijacked. Okay. The difference that you see here is that there's no laws here kept. It's a society that's owned by its own righteousness. And, you know, these women are taught differently, and the men are programmed by TV, television, or the environment, like Israel is. We're programmed.